Perfect. Thank you, sir. So I'll call to order the February 14th, 2022 Caroline County Broadband Advisory Committee meeting. The agenda should have been sent out to everybody, or at least, David, are you sharing it out still on your screen? I think that went away.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay.
Give me just a second here.
You're good.
It did not go out ahead of time. It is such a short agenda.
Okay. I thought maybe I deleted it by accident. So I'll give everybody just a second that we can read over this. If you want to scroll down just real quick, it's a very, very short one this time. But does anybody have any amendments to the agenda at this point in time? All right, not hearing anything come out of that. We will go ahead and move on. David, if you want to update us on old business, the railroad crossing update.
All right, so we did receive the initial drawings back. Let me see if I can share those out real quick. We did get the railroad crossings back, the initial drawings. This shows the location of the crossings that we had discussed with, I guess, Breeze Line now, but it shows all the crossings. We did send it off to their engineers just to make sure that that's what we needed. Not saying that we're doing it for them, but they're the ones that helped assist us in locating the crossings. So I sent it off to them to make sure these drawings represented what we had come up with, and they do. And so we've sent that back with just a couple of questions to Public Works, and there's a second set of drawings that will have to be created with more work once this is approved. So just wanted to let everybody know that we are still moving forward, and the initial drawings are back on those. So
David, the question that I've got real quick, when you said move forward once they're approved, as far as the broadband committee at this point, we don't have to do anything or do any sort of approving. That'll go back to the Board of Supervisors or County Public Works?
No, the board has already approved, allocated the money to do the work. But once we get the questions answered and approve it, when staff approves it for the engineering firm to go ahead with a second set of drawings, that it'll go forward. But I mean, as far as approval from the board, the money's allocated, so we just we're moving forward with getting everything set up and getting permits and all issued. So
all of that falls back in county staff and Public Works to move forward with it. The committee's done and the Board of Supervisors are done at this point in time.
Correct.
Or and for the rest of the time, I guess.
And so just wanted to bring everybody up to date on this committee, since it was an action of this committee that started that process moving forward. We are still moving forward and making progress. The drawings, I think, may have been, the first set of drawings may have been delayed about a week or so due to weather, but that's behind us. We've got those initial drawings back, and we're working towards finalizing the plans for the second set of drawings. So we'll keep you informed as to where we're at in that process.
All right. Any other discussion on that one? All right. We'll move forward to number 2, which is the RFP discussion. David?
So as of last Friday, late afternoon, the RFP has been on the street. You see that the RFP was assigned a name and a number. So that is up on the website. I will, I don't know if I put that link. I think I put that link in the email where you can actually download the proposal and the attachments. If not, I'll send that out shortly after the meeting. But the RFP is on the street already. Bright and early this morning, I was getting emails from another company that's interested. So there is some interest there. And then I also received some emails from a company that we had worked with in the past. So the questions are coming in. The world, what happens is with the RFP, we put it up on our website. And then we also put the attachments, which includes a spreadsheet with the locations of all the houses that we need to add, as well as a shape file that can be opened in Google Earth or some other CAD program, and a map, a PDF map of the new houses to be served. Now, prior to this, I made several rides through the area to make sure that we were as accurate as we possibly could with those maps, including adding a few streets that had been missed earlier. So as far as I can tell, it's I think it's 859 homes total west of 95 that currently do not have service. So the spreadsheet has all of those listed. The map has dots where all of those are. And the shape file, you can open it up in Google Earth and it'll actually show you where. Now so this was issued on February the 11th. The due date on it is April the 12th. 14 days prior to the end of the RFP is the deadline for any questions. So anytime up until 14 days before the end of it, they can, questions can be asked from anybody that's interested. We do request that the requests come by email, just so that we're transparent with the process. We'll respond to those questions by email. And then we'll also post the question and the response on another attachment that can be downloaded from the website, so that everyone that's interested knows the questions that have been asked, and everybody has access to the same information. So we're taking care to be as transparent and open with this as possible. Now, the one thing, if a lot of questions do come in, we will probably have a meeting, a Zoom meeting, and invite anyone who's interested to attend that meeting, and so we can address those questions there. Main thing is we want any responses or questions and the responses from anybody to be available to everyone who's interested, so that no one gets any kind of unfair advantage to it. So April the 12th is when we're looking for the deadline to have all these back into admin. At that point, we will open them up and start grading them. The EVA website that we have to post these on for the state of Virginia requires an award date. So we set an award date of 2 weeks after April 12th. So we're looking at about April 26th, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood, to announce the winner of the RFP. Or if we don't find any that work for us, then at that point we would announce no award, and then we could consider going back out for a second RFP. We do have time to do the process twice. It's going to be tight. But if we follow that guidelines, the RFP is written. And as you can see on the screen, or if you downloaded it, it is about roughly 20 pages. I think. Yep, 20 pages long. This is all written, has been signed off on by the county attorney and proofread, and Jason and myself have read it through, and the committee's looked it over, and so we've made some minor changes to it and tweaks, but the version that is up there now has been proofread as many times as possible. And it's possible that, that there still may be a typo or something in there, but the main gist of the RFP is correct. It follows. Basically, the RFP is going to set us up to where if we have serious people that are interested and they respond to the RFP correctly, we'll have the majority of information we need for the VATI grant. So we're not waiting 5 minutes till close of business to try to get the information from the provider. In fact, the RFP itself states that the person who is the awardee of the RFP is required to 45 days prior to the VATI deadline supply the information that's required for the VATI application. So hopefully we've addressed several things. One, hopefully we'll locate a company that's willing to work with us and get all of those 859 homes, as well as addressing the fact that we need information ahead of time. So we've set the timeline on this, and hopefully we've set a reasonable timeline. Jason Barlow and myself and Jason Jacobus discussed the fact that I think we would have liked the RFP to be 30 days, but we're asking for a whole lot of information in those 20 pages. So for that reason, we settled on 60 to give companies an opportunity to develop an RFP that would meet those requests. And that's the biggest thing we wanted to let you guys know. It's been a lot of work from this committee. There is one area in there when we start talking about speeds and priorities as far as type of service in the RFP. We had originally stated that it would be scored based on the strategic plan, but then in going back through that, I determined or found out that actually the plan for universal coverage currently has our priorities as far as types of service that we would consider. So we ended up making a last minute change to the RFP saying that it would be judged based on the criteria set forth in the strategic plan as well as the plan for universal coverage. And since we do have an open RFP, I don't think we need to go about trying to make any changes to either one, but shortly after this RFP closes, we need to go back and revisit both of those and perhaps move those priorities over to the strategic plan and just clean it back up so that if we do have to go out to an RFP, we can go out with one document instead of having to go out with two. So other than that, Jason, that's all I have for the group.
Okay. Any questions on that? Comments?
Thank you for the update.
It's a short meeting.
Yeah.
It is a short meeting tonight, but you guys are the ones that may actually have questions from people in the community. So we wanted to make sure that you guys were up to speed. Go ahead.
Just from your estimation, like the two companies that reached out for questions, does that mean they'll likely put in a bid, or will there be companies that potentially put in a bid that don't need questions answered at all? How do you feel about the responses?
The questions, both companies that I spoke with today are very interested. And the questions that at least one of the two had is not a question of that would decide whether they apply or not. It's just they wanted to make sure they had a complete application. So I think we've got at least two companies that are looking at it very seriously already. One of them we're very familiar with. So hopefully it'll work out. One thing, Jason Barlow, that we did not put on the agenda that we should have is we have a new member here tonight representing Madison that was appointed at the last board meeting by Clay Forehand to represent his district. And I guess, now help me with this. Is it Stefan Levesque?
It's Stefan, and the S is silent, so Levesque. So half Italian, half French Canadian.
All right. Well, welcome to the committee.
Welcome.
I can promise you one thing, Stefan, that the majority of our meetings are not this short. But
No worries.
this is almost a break before the storm, because once those RFPs come back in, we may end up having to meet once or twice to go through that scoring process. So there's a lot of work coming up. And we try to just keep everybody on this committee informed. And by being on YouTube, hopefully we have some community members that are watching and keep them informed to the fact that, yeah, we were not successful in last year's grant application. But just like the 1, 2, or 3 cycles ago that we were not successful on, we take input from the state and change our approach, and hopefully we'll be successful this time. So the community just needs to know that the Board of Supervisors is still behind the plan for universal coverage and very supportive of trying to expand broadband in Caroline. This committee is working extremely hard to try to help that process along and see that the citizens of Caroline have universal coverage, which means every house in Caroline would have internet available to them. So it's just that's our goal here, is to try to give a little more local perspective to the process and make sure that we're moving forward. So
one quick thing, David, if we, based on that comment that you said, there might be a chance that we meet 1 or 2 times, would these be closed session meetings, you think, since we will be scoring the RFP?
I would have to check with the attorney. Part of me says yes, at least through part of the evaluation process, but then there may be a point in that evaluation process that would need to be public as well. So okay. We'll get some direction from the attorney.
Okay.
Just so Stefan knows, these are public meetings. We're currently using Zoom and have been since COVID hit. Eventually, we may turn back to in-person meetings, and they would be public meetings, probably at the community center auditorium. But the Zoom meeting and the YouTube streaming seems to work well for our members, and at the pay that we get paid for being on the committee, I don't think it's we try to be as cooperative with your schedules as we can. So we try to keep them to an hour if we can. That's our goal, or less. So tonight, hopefully less.
All right. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm familiar with RFPs with the federal government and the DoD. So very familiar with those processes. And I've previously served on another committee that was also public facing for the county. So I'm good to go. Thank you very much.
Stefan, if you would like to give us a little bit, just like a brief bio, that would be great. Just let us know what your experience is, and that way we can pull on your expertise as we need it. All right.
Again, my name is Stefan Levesque. I've lived in Caroline County for almost 7 years now in Ladysmith Village. I work for the Department of Defense, primarily the Navy and the Marine Corps. I am a DevOps manager for the Navy and the Marine Corps, definitely in the engineering side of the house. We're talking IT engineering. I have about 15, 16 engineers that work with me. And let's see here. I've been in IT all my life. I started working for America Online when I was 17. So having broadband is extremely important, as most things are now go to the internet, especially for kids' education and coming out of COVID, and my kids having to be online and watching and listening to the struggles of community members having to deal with the hot spots or having to drive to certain locations just to get their homework and assignments. That hits me. Luckily, I've been blessed to have broadband connectivity, but it needs to be out throughout the rest of the county. I appreciate the appointment by Mr. Clay Forehand, and he believes my expertise and my experience would benefit this community. I'm very familiar with, like I said, RFPs, BOEs, bombs, as well as troubleshooting, engineering solutions, and doing root cause analysis. So I have a young family. I have a 7-year-old and a 14-year-old. I also am one of the founders of Boy Scout Troop 110 here in the county. I continue to be a Boy Scout and Cub Scout leader, as well as a board of directors here at Ladysmith Village.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Welcome to the committee, and hopefully together we as a committee can accomplish some big things for the county. We definitely have worked hard. This has been a really hard-working committee over the last 2.5 years or 3 years almost now. So we're going to continue to work hard to try to do everything humanly possible to bring broadband to the entire county. That's our goal.
Fantastic.
All right. Anything else that we need to bring up in old business, David?
Not that I'm aware of, Jason. I believe that's it.
Okay. Any new business anybody wants to discuss? All right. Hearing no new business, we'll move on to the next thing, which is our next meeting date and format. Looking into March, the second Monday in March will also be the 14th, and 7 o'clock Zoom. Is everybody in favor of that? David, do we try and do anything in person yet, or do we hold off a little bit longer on the in-person?
I would think we give it a little more time. Things seem to be calming down some, and I've got a feeling that what we may find is that when we start looking at these RFPs, that might be a time that we need to sit around a table with some paper in front of us and score these things. So
Okay.
I would think that next month we'd be fine to go Zoom if nobody objects.
Okay. Anybody in favor of the March 14th, 7 p.m. Zoom meeting? Any seconds?
I second.
All right. All in favor,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we will, and oppose, same sign. All right. So we will meet Zoom on March 14th, 7 p.m. And I guess now, anybody want to call for an adjournment?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
All right. All right. Everybody. All right. Anybody, any discussion on that, or we'll just go ahead and vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We'll adjourn this meeting, and we will have our next meeting March 14th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Talk to everybody then.
Thank you.